local, except for her.
Yes.
Where are you from?
I'm from Saudi Arabia, Jeddah.
Oh, Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
All the way to Malaysia.
Yes.
Okay. The rest are all local, as in KL.
No.
From various parts of
Penang.
Oh, mainly Penang?
Sarawak.
Sarawak. Which part of Sarawak?
Kuching.
Ah, okay. Good. It's okay. No worries. Okay. Hang on. Let's just relax a little bit for a while.
Okay.
點樣？啱啱你爸爸過嚟喎。
係咩？幾點？
唔知喎，8點9點喎。
有冇同我講我有嚟？
你爸爸知道咗，佢今日你話佢約我早啲嘅，我講唔得你過嚟嘛。所以我講遲啲啦。The enrollment 30% or less only make up to the final stage.
Yeah.
You all know about that, huh? Good, good. Come help yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
How do you survive? Just
How
survive.
do you survive?
Okay. Seems to have like a very long list of questions for me.
Quite a lot lah actually.
Ask smartly.
Just ask some parts
Okay.
of the
So how do you want to start this?
because we have 4 parts. We have to ask like company background, interview
Personal.
background, and what
Projects.
Projects you're involved.
And another 2 main
Specific
projects.
2 projects that you involved that you remember the best.
I remember the best. I'm getting old already.
Okay.
So 4 parts. Okay, Ken, you want to start with the first part?
Yeah.
Which is the company.
Company background.
It's called CLAD Office, CLAD Office, Sendirian Berhad.
What is the reason using this name?
Basically, there's no particular reason for it. I mean, it's a...
Drink and alcohol.
Coffee, latte, alcohol, and drinks.
Drink.
So it was supposed to be a relaxed kind of office because our office only there are only 2 of us. So my wife is also actually an architect and myself. Yeah. Okay.
So how long did you start the company? When did you start the company?
We started in 2006.
9 years.
9 years.
Yes,
9 to 10
coming to 10 years. Yeah. Don't be shy. Come on. Just throw me the questions.
Yeah.
This is an architecture firm, right?
Okay, let's put it this way. We both of us are trained in architectural firm. Like you guys, we went through all the course in architecture. So when we came out on our own, when we decided to set on our own, it's basically we wanted to have some fun of it of our own. Try in the market. We deal mainly a lot on small projects. Okay, which is why we decided to come out in 2006. Yeah, it's an architectural background, but unfortunately both of us are not registered architects. But the projects that we deal with is basically just like an architect. We do from A to Z until completion, right? It's just that we are not licensed.
You have to practice it.
Yes, you can say that. Yeah.
Do you have any name card or something?
Yeah, sure. I will get you a name card afterwards.
And so basically the company is just 2 of you, right?
Yes, 2 of us.
Just both of you are architect, know something like the hierarchy of the staff.
No.
Hierarchy of staff, no. Basically, if you are talking about hierarchy of staff in a big firm, my experience is that when you work in a big firm, you have, of course, your bosses. Then it depends on what kind of company you are working in. There are actually quite a fair bit of hierarchy to it. But as for us, it's just 2 of us. Basically, we do from everything. We start from conception, design, submission, whatever it is, it's all under us. Yeah.
So basically, the small projects involved in residential area or what?
We do jobs like residential, commercial. Yeah.
Residential and commercial the most lah.
Yes.
Do you have any like company strategy, like the purpose, your mission statement? Do you set this with companies?
No. No, there's only one aim for it because it's the, how shall I say this? There's no hierarchy. We just wanted to come out and set our own self and do the projects all by ourselves. Simple as that. Yeah.
No drafting, so
No drafting.
isn't it tiring?
It's very tiring. Actually, architectural job is very tiring. Even if you work in a big firm with the draftsmen, how are you going to put it that way? Towards the end of the day, because you are the ones who is actually giving concept and thinking of it. Draft person is mainly to help you to draw up. But if you got drafting required when thinking is required or some sort of conceptual is required, I don't think draftsmen can actually help out on that part. See, you just put it draft person as more on a technical side to help you to fulfill certain jobs or help you to fulfill certain drawings or detailing kind of things. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what is the present condition of the company? Means now you both are now having what kind of project?
Okay, we are still working. You see, we are still working on small scale projects, mainly on. We have bungalows. We have commercial building like showrooms. Then of course a bigger scale project which is still coming in. Small project like mixed development kind of project.
Okay, can you introduce yourself?
I thought we already introduced myself, isn't it?
Yeah, no, talk more about you, like what's your educational background.
It should have been like the
How
first thing. It should have been the first.
Yeah, that should be the first part, isn't it?
Sorry.
Okay. I started off with a college over here, which is called FIT, Future in Trouble.
Future?
In Trouble.
During travel.
No, sorry. I think this is probably a long time ago. You all probably haven't heard of it. It's in Cheras. It's called Federal Institute of Technology. That's where I started off my basic it's my basic, like you guys, of foundation. That's where I started to understand or come into touch with architecture. It's a school mainly teaches us a lot on drafting, technical, construction, blah blah blah, and so on. From there, I moved to, after completion my college, I went to where did I go? Okay, I went to Sydney, University of New South Wales. I did my degree there for 4 years, and then I came back. I went to Singapore to work for 2 years. Then I came back to KL again because I do not see Singapore has more opportunities compared to Malaysia. Because in Singapore it's such a small country, you work, there's not much options for you to do in terms of varieties of project. You know, when you first graduated, you always wanted to have experience in all sort of projects, small scale, medium size, commercial, so that you get more involved and you get experience on that. When I was in Singapore, I do a lot on residential projects, like condominiums, 2, 3, 4 projects, doing some competitions for the office. Then there's a need for you when, after a certain time, you think, hey, there's a need for me to actually to be given more exposure. Hence, I think Malaysia is a better place, and I came back because of that. Okay, from there, I joined GDP Architect. I don't know, have you heard of GDP?
DDP.
Yes. From there, I joined GDP, and my first project was to do a university,
University? Oh, university.
UITM.
Oh.
Yeah, okay.
Can what does GDP stands for? No.
There's actually no particular names for GDP. I think probably last time they meant to keep it as good design practice. I don't know. But it's just GDP. There's no any particular meanings to it. Yeah.
Just like your pet lah. No.
It's coffee, latte, alcohol, and drinks. All right. So from there, I joined GDP. My first project was I involved from the conceptual stage up until just right before the construction for the UITM. And the construction part was taken by another team to deal mainly on the construction.
Means also in the
GDP, yes, it's also part of the team. I was doing all the design schematic until the drawing, which is good enough for constructions, and I was pulled off from that job and put on some other projects. In between that, of course, I was also involved in residential development, semi-Ds and bungalows, and from there I was also put into a team to work in a project in Abu Dhabi. Yes, that was a very big scale project. It was mixed development, shopping complexes, residential. Yeah, it's basically a mixed development.
So may I know how old are you?
I'm 42 this year.
52.
So in Abu Dhabi, of course, in between, because I in GDP I was put in a team under the design team. So we start from zero. We conceptualize the project. We do all the drawings, design drawings. We do proposal to the client. We do presentation, and up to if the company get the job, then we continue to do the works, of course. So that's basically my job. But Abu Dhabi job is a very tedious job because you deal with a lot of people. It's a different cultural, different lifestyle. You have to understand all those things to do the design for them. Different climate, that's very important. And in between also, sometimes I was made to fly to China, Dubai. I went to Jordan, Muscat to do design presentation and also help out on some other teams for the design purpose. Yeah. So after some time, I felt so boring of flying. That's when I decided to start on my own. Yeah, but that's basically the general part of it. Yeah.
So you work with your wife at that period of time?
That period of time, my wife is also in GDP, but we work on a different office. Yeah, she handles different projects, and my part is on another part of the office. Basically, that's what I do.
What inspired you to become an architect?
That's a very good question. What inspired me? Actually, there's not really an inspiration to it from the first place. I did not do well in my high school. I just happened to be in college doing architecture, which I don't even know what is architecture all about at that time. But as I go along, I think I just enjoy it. And then, nothing inspired me. That's a good question.
So were you good in drawing?
Sorry?
Were you good in drawing and sketching?
No.
No, thank God. That's good to hear.
No.
Because most of us now is suffering in
Drawing, yes.
sketching.
I can't draw a cat to save my life.
No, you don't have to be a very good in drawings to be a good architect. Okay? I don't know how to say inspired thing, but you see, it's all about ideas, how you conceptualize things, and how do you see your everyday life, your lifestyle, how you blend all those things together and make it work. Simple as that. So I think that is the first stage of all architects should have.
So was it a challenge for you, the drawings?
Oh yes, drawing is always very challenging.
So when you come up with ideas, you just doodle or you straight away use the software to draw it?
No, ideas must be tested, and you must have a strong background on your ideas. Strong background, that means it has to be a strong reason. There's a research way why how you come about this thing. Ideas can be very small, okay, but it can grow very big. Yeah, you can have many ideas, many good ideas, but doesn't mean you can implement into a certain project. That is one thing you will have to be very smart about your ideas. Yeah. You see, sometimes when you do a project, you have so many good ideas and you wanted to put all those ideas into it to realize that, the project, I have this, blah, 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 and so on. But don't forget that if you have too many ideas, sometimes you just spoil the whole project. One ideas or two ideas is very good, but it's just how you make it big is very important. The idea can be very simple, but simple is very difficult.
So use the KISS principle lah.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Keep it simple, stupid.
It's
The
simple.
idea, principle. Ease.
Yes.
You just work in one company, right? Previously, no,
Two.
Singapore,
Singapore and
GDP.
GDP. Yes.
GDP. Then you start your own business. May I know the name of the Singapore company?
It's called DCA.
DCA.
DCA. Actually, both these firms are quite prominent architect firms. DCA is a medium-scale architect firm. GDP in Malaysia is actually very well known and is a very big architectural firm. I learned most of my trade in DCA. It's actually the most important 2 years of my architectural progress was in DCA.
What do you learn in DCA?
What do I learn in DCA? Actually, when we graduated and worked in the architectural firms, we tend to find ourselves in a position where we always question ourselves. It seems like there are still many things that you don't know. You find yourself very blurred. You don't know what you do is correct, and you don't know whether what you are doing is good or no good. It's all very questionable. So DCA, for a start as a fresh graduate, usually they will put the fresh graduate with a senior to help out on the project. Then you learn the project. So likewise, the most difficult part, or not difficult part, but you will learn firstly is how does the project start from zero to completion. There's a hierarchy, when you see the client, you get approval from the client. It's very practical part out of it. Then of course of that, you need to go to site, you need to look into how does a world of architecture is really carried out. Yeah.
So, do you have any favorite architect
That inspires you when you are young until now?
Yes, of course. Oh, Westlands we have one. It's Peter Zumthor. Have you heard of Peter Zumthor? No. Stephen Hall. Yeah. And probably these are the two very favorite person. I always look into them. Maybe Richard Meyer. Have you heard of Richard Meyer? No, Richard Meyer. Stephen Hall, you heard of it? Yeah. Peter Zumthor. Yeah.
Why do you like them? Do they have any character with their design buildings?
Yeah. You see, Peter Zumthor. Okay, let's put. Richard Meyer is the one that I looked at when I was still in the uni. You look at how he works, how the questions were actually related to drawings, how he do beautiful architectural drawings. Okay, he's very good in playing forms, ideas of public space, open space, blah blah blah. You know, so Peter Zumthor is very good in materials. He just use one materials and he make the materials fly. Okay, of course that has to deal with spaces, how the spatial planning of it, the choice of the materials. It basically is all textured, you know, sciences. That is very good in Zumthor. Stephen Ho is very good in conceptualization. Yeah, yeah. Of course, lately you all should look into Kevin Marlowe. Kevin Marlowe. Kevin Marlowe is a master of small trades. He's very good in that.
So what
kind of problems have you had so far in the field?
problems?
What kind of problems in architecture?
Yeah.
Actually, there are lots of problems today. What kind of problems do you want to know?
Main
Most
problem.
difficult.
Main problems. Yeah.
Main problem.
Main problems.
The most troublesome one.
The most you suffer.
Sorry?
The most difficult.
When you build something or when you want to design,
The materials.
You are talking about in architect point of view, in terms of the progress of it.
Yeah.
or with construction.
Or whatever problems that you personally came across.
Yeah.
Dealing with client is the most difficult.
Okay.
Yes.
What kind of client?
Okay, very simple. I'll just give you an example. Say for example, if you were to ask to build a bungalow, okay, when we design a bungalow, basically you have to listen to the brief, which is the so-called requirement. The requirement of a client, what do they need, what kind of things they want, blah 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 and so on. But a lot of clients, they don't really know what they want, except they only know one thing. They only know one thing is that they want to have how many numbers of rooms, how many kitchen, things like that, bathrooms. You know, it's very simple. But the challenging part for us is that you have to create a lifestyle for a certain. You have to conceptualize it with that basic requirements. How are you going to conceptualize that building in such a way that it has got a spatial, interestingly done, and yeah, that is very important.
Need to learn your lifestyle.
Well, lifestyle is very depends on how you live. Basically, you look into the client. Of course, the questions when I sit down, I will ask the client, how do you usually, when you come home, what do you do? Do you spend times a lot in the living hall? Yeah. Then do you really socialize with your children? What kind of area do you prefer? Do you prefer outdoor spaces? Whether you like to stay inside the house, or the kind of person that you don't go outside of the house? You know, things like that. Yeah.
So besides this, do you have any other problems like between the colleagues previously in the company?
Sure. Sure have problems with colleagues. You definitely will have problems with that. But I don't think it's a problem. It's just how you deal with people. No, actually, it's actually quite good. I have a very good bunch of colleagues. Yeah.
Which is supportive and all, is it?
It's actually very open when you are it's all teamwork. Like what you are doing is all teamwork. When you sit in a project, especially in actual practicing, you have various colleagues all from different backgrounds. But there's only one point objective, is that we all wanted to achieve a good piece of architecture. Simple as that. But of course, on top of that, you have ideas. You need to sit down and brainstorm the ideas. You got certain people have got certain point of view. Then you have to start to learn between each other what is good and what is not good. By asking a lot of questions doesn't mean that you don't accept it or you disagree with it. By asking a lot of questions, is actually make you realize more about how the projects are coming, whether they are coming into a right direction or is not going to the direction that you all want to achieve. So working is actually a very good, you need to have a good team also, definitely. Yeah.
Do you guys work with a contractor? Like, contractor?
Yes, you have to work with a contractor because you need to tell the contractor how you want the things to be done. Yes.
Engineer also.
Of course, you need to work with engineers. Of course, when you have a job, when you want to design, then you talk to the, you need to work together with the engineer. You got the CNS, you got the M&E, and then you have to work with the QS. Those are secondary. You go past your client, those are secondary. Okay. Yeah. Then of course, eventually when the project starts, then you have to go for a meeting. That's when you talk. You will meet a lot of the contractor during that time. You have to do inspections. Yeah, you will get involved with contractor very much.
So what is your greatest fear as an architect? Means doesn't mean that your problem, but you fear that
Fear.
you have the problem in the future. What kind of problem you're afraid of? Most of it.
What do I fear of? It's very hard to say what do I fear of, seriously.
Because so far so good lah, you didn't have any problem. Like
problem.
you scared for something like maybe the cost,
Yeah.
maybe the client didn't want to pay. Is it you got that kind of
Like-
problem? No. Okay. So
What is your reaction when the client reject all your idea?
No, the chances is very low. I have to say that. The chances is actually quite low for that. Of course, there are certain things they reject, but you just have to convince them, and you have to understand what is the reason for doing so. Was it a design purpose? Usually, it's not about design. Most clients will comment is that the spatial arrangement is not to their liking, blah blah blah, and so on. As long as you understand that, then of course we can do something about it. Yeah, you need to adjust.
So what is your biggest achievement in architect?
Sorry?
Architect field, the biggest achievement you think you have?
Biggest achievement. I think so far so good. I've been keeping most of my project a good practice, which means we are very concerned on our projects that deal a lot with public spaces. We look very highly on public spaces, whether our design do involve a good public spaces, a good circulation, yeah, and of course the spatial arrangements come after that. That is very important to us. Yeah.
So do you have any quote like to keep you moving forward?
Motivated.
Yeah.
Feel motivated.
Yeah, because sometimes of course
Motivation.
you feel down, right, when you work. So what keeps you motivated?
What's keep me motivated is to do a good piece of work, basically. You see, the questions actually related to the questions before, right? What was the questions before again?
It's a lot.
A
A lot.
No, just the one before this.
biggest achievement?
Yeah, biggest achievement.
Your education.
No, the biggest achievement is because I'm very proud of what I have done so far, especially the projects that have been built. I'm very proud that we put 100% commitment to it. I believe we have done a good job for the project. And we don't simply design something just for developers' sake or for money. You know, some developers, when they build certain things, they always wanted to maximize it. Maximize the whole plot of the land. Right? I don't see it that way. By maximizing the whole piece of land doesn't mean it has got quality. So that hence the quality comes in. We are very concerned about how a public space is being used. You know, that's what I call a give and take. You must have that give and take attitude into a project. Hence, the project will be beautiful. Yeah.
Can you give us some examples of projects that you have involved, like the project name and where it is?
Okay, there's one over here. Maybe you can get Chun to take you all for a site visit afterwards. It was built when I first came out for my first project. That is in 2006. It's a commercial project. I was asked to design a commercial building, shop lot alike. It was just a piece of land, 1 acre land, sandwiched in between 2 petrol stations. So the client asked me to do something that I can find good about this place, but he wanted a shop lot. And I gave him something totally different. And he just buy it from there. You see, because the client it comes from a developer. You know, clients, they wanted to build high. As long as you can go up for 3 to 4 story building for a row of shop lots, that's where they make a lot of money. But my concern is that it's not about building high. You have to have a site context. What is a site context is that how your building sitting in there, it relates to the surrounding. That is very important. So it's sandwiched between 2 petrol stations, and petrol station is all 1 story high. But of course they are very high. They are very high. So when I were to build something in there, 4 story high, in between these 2 places, I find it very funny. I don't think it works at all. So I wasn't given any kind of actual brief. It's just shop lot, and it was a freehand thing. So I've given him something where it's only 2 story, and it has got outdoor spaces, it has got indoor spaces, and it's more like a F&B outlets kind of thing. We have lots of landscape, and I think this is probably one of the projects that we planted a lot of trees on the surroundings, so that it doesn't look like shop lot. Simple as that.
Because he doesn't want
Yeah, this is because I think it's very important to have greens, gardens, courtyard. Those are very important in a building also. They interplay between each other. Hence, I think that place is actually quite good. It was very well done. We addressed the public issue. We addressed the car, very heavy traffic issue. How we deal with that. How the circulation is being done so that it's smooth. Simple as that.
So later, can you give us the
Sure,
list?
I will show you some of it.
Yeah.
In that particular project, your job is to give the idea or
No,
which
I
stage?
started from we do the design, and then we do the construction. Not I do. We follow up until the whole project completed. Yes.
So it was kind of a pocket park, that particular place.
Sorry.
It was kind of a pocket park,
Okay.
like between 2 spaces, that particular thing.
Yeah, because it's not really pocket, it's sandwiched between two petrol stations, and on the other two sides are just highways, main roads. So you need to deal about visual, public spaces, how people come in from here, in and out. Yeah. It's hard to explain it without the drawings, but anyway, yeah.
So this one you were like a senior already, right?
This is when I was on my own already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
2006.
Of course, on top of that, during my first 2 years, I was also involved in another bungalow job. To be honest, because of this project, I quit the project. I quit my office to just concentrate on doing these two projects. So one of the other good project is the bungalow. I did a very small bungalow for a couple with children. Yeah, it was quite nice.
So, any two projects you remember most?
These two projects I remember the most because they are very beginning of my my working life.
So
Yeah.
the bungalow and the
The
commercial.
Yeah, shop.
The shop was when you were all by yourself lah, when you started
Yeah,
your own company.
2006.
Yes, they are the bungalow also the same. We started out on.
Oh, the Abu Dhabi is when you were.
Yeah.
Actually, how long do you take to finish your project?
Oh, that is very subjective.
No,
It depends on how fast you can design.
no, for those two,
For these
the
two
shop
houses.
and the bungalow.
For these two, the design process takes very fast. Probably between up to 3 months. Basically, it's all done. Yeah, no, it's not fast for the design stage.
Oh, design, yeah.
Just a design stage is 3 months. From the design stage, you start off with, of course, you have to deal with authority. Authority part is very subjective. Yeah, you need to wait for their approval. Beside the submission part from the authority, once it's all done now, it's basically you start construction. Then that's probably around 2 years. Yeah, 2 years for each.
So the under Abu Dhabi project, you were like a junior there lah. You do your work or you were a senior already?
I don't know whether I should call myself junior or senior, but I was there for quite a while. I think I should be called senior already by that time. Yeah.
Is it different when you work alone and when you do the project under different
Companies.
companies?
Sorry, what
Is
again?
it, is it different?
between
When
in
you
a
make
big
the
company and
Yeah, when you work
Big
alone.
company and small company.
Oh no, when you
Then working yourself and then you working like with
With
someone,
others.
how different is it?
Oh, is it?
It's one big difference. You make decision yourself. Right? Okay. Other than that, it's just basically quite the same. The work procedure from A to Z is actually the same. It's the amount of time you need to spend is basically the same, except that you have to make your own decision. Yeah? Which is good.
So you need to see.
Can I ask, who's like your boss in DCA GDP? Do you remember the names?
The names in DCA. DCA 邊個做啊?
Because they made the first one.
You want the bosses? Not really. Why would you want to know the name of the bosses?
Maybe.
Is that really important? In
No, the bosses are not.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
usually how do you come up with the ideas of the building?
Naturally.
Some more? Yeah.
Somewhat the client helps you and the site, so you combine those two. The
Actually,
idea.
we always started off from the site.
Okay.
We do a site visit, understanding what are the surroundings, what are the critical area, And of course, on top of that, depending on the typology of the project, which means what type of project you are looking at, whether it's for commercial, residential, you have to factor that. And thirdly, you have to factor the design or the client's requirement. With these three, we will start to conceptualize the building. Of course, we don't sketch straight away how the outlook of the building. No, we do not do that. It's more of a progress, how the building should be laid. What are the kind of things that you would address in terms of the public, how the building relate to each other. Those are the first questions that comes up.
So your company is like a private one. So do you work like as in consultant and as a site architect, or just one place?
Right now, we are more on a design consultant. We couldn't call ourselves architectural firm because we don't have a license for that.
So
But
you're
of
not
course-
there on site?
Sorry?
On site. Are you there on site?
On site?
Yeah, when the construction is going on.
Yes.
Okay.
Also, both like you're in office and also
And you are on site. Okay, yes, it's both.
So what's the difference between architects in the old days and the architects now? Like 2000 years and the architect now. When you start the work? 19...
You mean personally as an architect, you are not
Yeah.
talking about architectural, right? You are talking about architect. I
Yeah.
only worked for how many years? I graduated in 2001. I started working in 2001. It's only 14 years. There's not much of a great difference. Yeah, not much of a great difference. But one thing for, how do I say that? Of course, nowadays the architecturals are more, it's better, I would say. It's better.
Because they can come up with more ideas, right?
Oh.
Is it?
Maybe that's true. People, I believe that architects is more matured nowadays. Yeah, they realize things, they do better job, unlike the early 90s. Yeah. Yeah.
What do you mean by mature?
They're thinking now.
Yes. I think nowadays the projects are more interesting. The way they do it is unlike those days. It's so boring,
So basic.
nothing much to shout about. It's
Yes.
What is the differentiate between our country with our overseas? The architecture.
Just about that.
Like how is working here different from, like, you work in Abu Dhabi, right? So how is it
Working
different?
in Abu Dhabi is semi like hell. You work 24 hours a day almost,
Yes.
right? In Abu Dhabi, it's very tough. It's not tough because it's a big scale job. You need a lot of time frame to work out on the issue. I was flying between Kuala Lumpur and Abu Dhabi. So I fly to Abu Dhabi on Friday afternoon. I reached there Saturday morning.
Yes.
And then immediately I went into the office and start working. Yeah. How different? It's very different. In Kuala Lumpur office, it's more a well set up office. You have most of the facilities over there. Not in Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi, that time, even the rules and regulations from the authority is also very unclear. So that is a challenging part to get it done, to meet a lot of the building requirements by law, so-called.
So the way you think is different from the way the people in Abu Dhabi think. So how did you like come up with the mutual decision?
There's not really a different thinking. I think when you talk about project, it's actually quite the same. It's just whether your project is very interesting enough for them to take it or not. Simple as that. Work-wise, it's quite the same. Yeah.
So what advice do you have for your future architects? Or
For us.
Enjoy.
Enjoy. Enjoy.
Enjoy. We don't sleep for days.
I know.
Yeah, what do you expect? Because architectural jobs is always a lot of projects, a lot of working papers need to be done. You see, when you design something, you keep on designing. There's no cut-off line, right? And there's no right and correct, or right or wrong.
Yeah.
You just keep on doing it until last minute. You know tomorrow is the submission date. You just finalize it today, without knowing that you can complete the work or not, or without knowing that whether you've done a good job. That is one thing quite sad in a way. It's not really sad, but that's how architecture is all about. You just keep working until the last minute. Even in real life, in our own practice, it's still the same. Even if you have got the approval, or the client has actually agreed with most of it, and somehow you still think something is not perfect. And somehow when doing construction and you still want to change. It's quite normal. But if you change for the sake of good, that's okay. But if you change for the sake of popularity or requests, unnecessary requests, I think that's no good. Yeah.
What do you mean by unnecessary?
You know, unnecessary demand is like, you know, when the client says, no, I don't like this, I want it to be something like that, blah, blah, blah.
Actually,
And then you know that it doesn't work. So you have to tell the
Okay.
client that this doesn't work.
okay.
Right? You have to convince them it doesn't work, why it doesn't work. Yeah. So that is the thing. Sometimes when you, along the way, the client will come after you, hey, look, can we do this? Can we change this? It's quite common. But you just have to tell them, look, this is good enough. I don't think it's nice. I don't think there's any necessary to amend it again. It depends on what kind of issue. Like, it's a small, minor issue, it's okay. Yeah. So yeah, that's you work as when you were a student, you just continue working. Yeah.
Is there any project in Abu Dhabi that you worked on that is different from the one you work now? Like any difference?
It's actually not much of a difference, actually. Because Abu Dhabi during the time they are still developing. Yeah. Unlike Dubai, it's quite well developed, very well known. A lot of people go to Dubai to do a lot of jobs. A lot of good architectural firms all over the places are in Dubai at that time. Not many in Abu Dhabi. I think probably GDP are quite the earliest field that goes to Abu Dhabi to do. So yeah, it's not much of a difference in terms of how you work, in terms of the. You see, it's actually quite similar the way when you work or how when you start to conceptualize a project. It's actually quite similar. I don't think there's any difference even if you're here or overseas. But probably the only things that make it different is that the requirements are different in terms of the bylaw requirements. The authority requirements are actually quite different. Yeah. Of course, the weather, the second issue. You know, if you work in, if you go to London or you go to Australia, Tokyo, they have all set of different requirements. So you just have to work along that way. But frankly speaking, if you were to go to any part of the world to work as an architect, I don't see any difficulty in that. You will just blend in because conceptualization is basically quite similar. Yeah.
Whether you were willing or not, is it?
Yeah, it's actually very, very similar. Yeah. Let's put it this way, after I show you some projects of mine and just feel a bit free and then you just talk, probably you'll get a bit better picture. I wasn't comfortable with this. So. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay?
Okay.
You might just want to fill some chairs over there. Or